In 2003, School of Rock struck a chord with audiences worldwide, combining comedy, heart, and a whole lot of rock and roll. Jack Black's unforgettable Dewey Finn led a classroom of misfit kids to musical glory, and many of those young stars became household names overnight. But it's now 2025, and over 2 decades have passed since the band took their final bow. So, where are they now? Some continued chasing fame, while others traded the stage for a quieter life. From shocking transformations to heartfelt life journeys, here's a look at what happened to the beloved cast of School of Rock 22 years later. Kevin Alexander Clark was born on December 3, 1988, and played Freddie Jones in School of Rock 2003 at the age of 15. Freddie is the impulsive, energetic drummer with a sense of rebellion and joy for life, the one who beats the rhythm of his own drum, literally and figuratively. After the film, Kevin's career didn't take off in the way many had expected. The fame faded quickly, and Kevin found himself stuck in an endless loop of minor roles and small gigs, never fully breaking free from the shadow of his iconic character. Struggling with his identity beyond Freddie, Kevin's life off-screen mirrored the chaos of his character, marked by difficult personal battles. He had a string of unsteady relationships, many of which ended due to his emotional withdrawal and a growing addiction to substances. He had never married, and despite having long-term relationships, he could never settle down, with rumors suggesting deep emotional struggles that kept him from truly connecting with others. His personal pain was compounded by the constant reminder of the career he once dreamed of, now lost in the rearview. His greatest tragedy came in 2021 when he was involved in a fatal bicycle accident at the age of 32, his life snuffed out in a moment, leaving behind a body of work that felt both fleeting and filled with what-ifs. Kevin passed away on May 26, 2021, at the age of 32, a victim of a cruel twist of fate. Suzanne Douglas was born on April 12, 1957, and portrayed Tamika's mother in School of Rock 2003 at the age of 46. Her character, a loving, supportive mother, was a warm, encouraging figure, nurturing her daughter's musical talents, but Suzanne's real life was far more painful than the role she played. Over the years, she experienced many career setbacks, often being overlooked in favor of younger, more marketable talents, and she struggled against the stereotype of the wise, older woman in Hollywood. In her personal life, Suzanne's marriage was tumultuous, rife with infidelity and emotional neglect. She married for the second time to a man named Eric, and together they had one daughter, whom she adored, but the constant stress from her fractured marriage took a toll on her health. Suzanne's struggle with mental health escalated, particularly with depression, which was exacerbated by the loss of her career momentum. The darkest time in her life came when she was diagnosed with cancer, a diagnosis that brought immense physical and emotional pain, leading to an isolation she never anticipated. Even as her health deteriorated, she remained determined to push through, refusing to give up on life. However, the agony of her condition became too much. Suzanne died on July 6, 2021, at the age of 64 from complications of cancer. Adam Pascal was born on October 25, 1970, and portrayed Theo in School of Rock 2003 at the age of 33, a character known for his arrogance and overconfidence. Theo, the lead singer of Dewey's former band, was full of bravado and self-assurance, but in reality, Adam's own life was a whirlwind of uncertainty and self-doubt. Though Adam's performance in School of Rock gave him brief exposure, his career was fraught with struggles. Unlike many of his co-stars, Adam failed to seize upon his role in the film, and instead, he found himself in a constant battle to secure acting roles. His love life was just as tumultuous. He was married to actress and singer, Kyra, but their relationship was plagued by infidelity, long separations due to work, and unresolved issues from past relationships. The couple divorced after 10 years, leaving Adam emotionally shattered. He tried to find solace in music, but even his musical career was rocky, with several albums that failed to find an audience. Adam's life descended into financial instability, coupled with bouts of depression and alcohol abuse. His struggles with self-image and professional failure reached a low point in the mid-2010s, where he contemplated leaving the industry altogether. At 54 years old in 2025, Adam lives a quiet life, seeking therapy and trying to rebuild his family connections. Jack Black, born on August 28, 1969, was 34 years old when he brought to life the role of Dewey Finn in School of Rock, 2003, an unconventional, rock-loving substitute teacher who inspired a class of misfits to form their own band. However, Jack's life off-screen was far less rock and roll than his on-screen persona might suggest. While his career skyrocketed after School of Rock, Jack's personal life was rife with moments of turmoil. He experienced the extreme pressures of Hollywood fame, often struggling with the duality of public adoration and personal dissatisfaction. His first marriage to Tanya Hayden was a rocky one, though they remained together for many years, sharing 2 children. Despite his public image as a cheerful, larger-than-life figure, Jack struggled with self-worth and anxiety, battling moments of deep sadness when the cameras weren't rolling. His troubles escalated when he began to feel like his career was taking a toll on his family, with rumors of infidelity and strain on his marriage. In recent years, Jack has distanced himself from the limelight, focusing more on his family and personal growth, though the scars of his early career struggles remain. As of 2025, at the age of 55, Jack's life is marked by introspection and quiet determination, far removed from the frenetic energy of his past. Lucas Papalias was born on September 18, 1976, and played Neil in School of Rock in 2003 at the age of 27. Neil, Dewey's ex-bandmate, was a mellow, introspective figure who, despite limited screen time, added a quiet emotional depth to the backdrop of Dewey's chaotic life. Typecast as a moody musician or burnout artist, he struggled to break into mainstream success. He married a fellow off-Broadway actress, Dana, in 2008, and they had a daughter named Iris. However, their union crumbled under the weight of financial instability, professional disappointment, and Lucas's worsening alcohol dependency. They divorced in 2017, and custody battles drained what was left of his savings and spirit. Lucas suffered from multiple breakdowns, one of which left him hospitalized for weeks in 2020. He attempted suicide twice and was diagnosed with bipolar disorder shortly after. The COVID-19 pandemic exacerbated his isolation and led to the foreclosure of his Brooklyn apartment. In 2023, he was arrested for trespassing after trying to sleep in a closed theater lobby, and later spent 6 months in a rehabilitation center. As of 2025, he is 48 years old, lives in a halfway house in Queens, and survives by giving occasional guitar lessons at a local community center. Mike White was born on June 28, 1970, and he played Ned Schneebly in School of Rock in 2003 at the age of 33. Ned, the gentle, spineless substitute teacher with a buried love for rock music, offered a heartwarming contrast to the chaotic Dewey Finn. Always an outsider in Hollywood, Mike faced industry skepticism for being too introspective, too weird, too real. Despite penning acclaimed films and TV shows, many of his projects were shelved or ignored due to studio politics. He never married, struggling with long-standing issues around intimacy, partly stemming from a strained relationship with his father, who came out as gay late in life, sending their conservative family into turmoil. Mike, himself bisexual, often spoke of feeling lost between worlds. He developed a dependency on anxiety medication, leading to a terrifying overdose in 2011, which he barely survived. Financial fraud by a former manager left him virtually bankrupt in 2016, and in 2020, a failed TV pilot he had spent years developing pushed him into a depressive spiral. Despite creating The White Lotus, which revived some of his acclaim, he remains wary of fame and deeply distrustful of the industry. In 2025, at age 54, he lives alone in a modest home in Santa Fe, writes sporadically, and is reportedly working on a novel about failure and forgiveness, a reflection of a life spent chasing meaning through the shadows. Sarah Silverman was born on December 1, 1970, and took on the role of Patty DeMarco in School of Rock in 2003 when she was 33. Patty, Ned's rigid and domineering girlfriend, became a symbol of the adult world's repression and skepticism, clashing sharply with Dewey's wild spirit. Known for her sharp wit and provocative humor, Sarah initially thrived in stand-up comedy and television, yet she faced relentless backlash for her controversial routines, many of which led to canceled shows and lost opportunities. Despite her fame, her personal life was deeply unstable. She had a string of high-profile relationships, including one with a fellow comedian who struggled with addiction and eventually died of an overdose in 2014, plunging her into a long period of grief. Sarah never married, and though she longed for a family, she faced multiple miscarriages and ultimately decided against pursuing motherhood alone. Diagnosed with chronic depression in her early 30s, she battled silently, using comedy as both shield and sword. Her 2018 memoir revealed past struggles with self-harm and a long-hidden eating disorder. Professionally, the industry's shift toward political correctness left her feeling obsolete, and by 2020, she was performing sporadically in smaller venues. In 2025, at age 54, she lives a reclusive life in Los Angeles, having mostly withdrawn from public view. Lucas Babin was born on July 30, 1979, and portrayed Spider in School of Rock in 2003 at the age of 24. Spider, the confident, shirtless rock god with wild hair and fearless energy, quickly became an icon for teenage rebellion and charisma. In real life, Lucas had the looks of a star, but Hollywood never offered him a lasting spotlight. After a few modeling gigs and minor film roles, he faded into obscurity. Yearning for a sense of control, he abruptly left acting and went to law school, eventually becoming a criminal prosecutor in Texas. Despite outward appearances of success, his life was marked by intense inner conflict. He married a college sweetheart, Emily, and they had 2 sons, but their marriage crumbled under the weight of Lucas's rigid moralism and emotional distance. Emily filed for divorce in 2019, citing mental cruelty, and Lucas fought fiercely for custody, losing partial rights after a publicized breakdown during a court proceeding. He became increasingly paranoid and immersed in conservative religious ideology, alienating friends and colleagues. In 2022, he faced accusations of abuse of power in a controversial trial that made headlines. By 2025, at age 45, Lucas remains the district attorney of Tyler County, but his public image is deeply tarnished, and he lives a bitter, isolated life, estranged from his children and estranged from the man he once aspired to be. Jordan Clare Green was born on October 31, 1991, and played the role of Michelle in School of Rock, 2003, at the age of 12. Michelle is one of the more animated members of Dewey's class, known for her enthusiasm and eagerness to contribute to the band. Her career, initially promising, took a tragic turn after School of Rock. While she appeared in a few television shows and movies in the early 2000s, her future never quite lived up to the potential many saw in her as a young actress. With limited roles and growing frustration, she found herself falling out of the public eye, battling depression. Her personal life was equally tragic. Jordan married at a young age to a fellow actor, but the union quickly crumbled as both partners struggled with their careers and personal demons. They had 1 child, a daughter named Emily, but the constant tension between work and personal life caused their separation when Emily was just 3 years old. In the years that followed, Jordan spiraled deeper into obscurity, unable to recover from the professional disappointments and personal turmoil. She struggled with substance abuse and had several stints in rehabilitation centers. In 2025, now 33 years old, she lives a reclusive life, estranged from both the public and her daughter. Joan Cusack was born on October 11, 1962, and played Rosalie Mullins in School of Rock in 2003 when she was 41. Rosalie, the tightly wound but secretly rock-loving school principal, was a role that revealed both sternness and suppressed passion, earning audience admiration for its nuance. Joan, a seasoned actress from a celebrated Chicago acting family, enjoyed a long and respected career in film and voice acting. But behind the charming facade, her life was marked by a quiet string of heartbreaks. She married attorney Richard Burke and had 2 sons, Dylan and Miles, but the marriage became strained after Richard's long affair with a colleague was revealed in 2010. Joan chose to stay for the sake of the children but privately battled anxiety and insomnia. She suffered a nervous breakdown in 2015, retreating from acting for several years. Her younger brother's struggle with alcoholism deeply affected her, especially after he was hospitalized in 2018, and her attempts to balance family and career left her emotionally depleted. She developed a tremor in 2021 that made filming difficult, leading to speculation about her health, though she never publicly confirmed any diagnosis. As of 2025, at 62 years old, Joan lives in semi-retirement in Illinois. Miranda Cosgrove was born on May 14, 1993, and portrayed Summer Hathaway in School of Rock, 2003, at the age of 10. Summer, the overachieving, highly organized student who assumes the role of the band's manager, seemed like an early glimpse into Miranda's own potential for success. However, Miranda's career became a bittersweet saga of highs followed by crushing lows. After School of Rock, she became a household name with iCarly, a successful sitcom that defined much of her teenage years. Yet, despite her professional success, the toll it took on her personal life was devastating. She married young to a fellow actor she met on set, only to face a turbulent marriage marked by infidelity, public pressure, and personal dissatisfaction. The couple had no children, but the cracks in their relationship were visible to all, eventually leading to a painful divorce. Miranda's battle with anxiety and depression worsened as she tried to juggle the pressures of fame with the collapse of her personal life. By the time she turned 30, her career had stagnated, and she was often seen in interviews lamenting how she felt trapped by the very fame she once sought. Her struggles were compounded by the pressures of maintaining a perfect public image while privately battling her demons. In 2025, now 31 years old, she lives somewhat of a secluded life, avoiding the Hollywood spotlight. Joey Gatos Jr. was born on April 18, 1991, and played Zach in School of Rock, 2003, at the age of 12. Zach is the quiet, introspective guitarist whose musical talent is undeniable but whose emotional struggles make him an unlikely hero. In many ways, this character foreshadowed the pain that would later haunt Joey's own life. Despite his incredible performance in School of Rock, Joey's career became a tragic tale of broken promises. After the film, Joey was cast in a few minor roles, but he never achieved the level of fame or success he had hoped for. He was plagued by personal issues, including intense feelings of inadequacy and anxiety, which led to substance abuse problems. His family life also began to unravel as his parents separated when he was still a teenager. Joey had difficulty maintaining any meaningful relationship, and his early dreams of stardom quickly turned into a blur of failed auditions and growing frustration. In his early 20s, he was arrested several times for drug-related offenses, and his addiction only worsened as he struggled to regain control of his life. His parents, once hopeful for his success, became distant, unable to help him overcome his spiraling descent into darkness. By 2025, Joey, now 34, has largely disappeared from the public eye. Robert Sy was born in 1990 and portrayed Lawrence in School of Rock, 2003, at the age of 13. Lawrence, the shy and reserved keyboardist who blossoms with confidence through the band, represented a classic underdog who gained strength and courage through his involvement in music. However, Robert's real-life journey mirrored Lawrence's struggles, but in a much darker way. After School of Rock, Robert initially seemed poised for a career in acting but quickly fell into obscurity. Though he appeared in a handful of films and TV shows, he was often overlooked in favor of more established actors. His personal life, much like his career, was fraught with disappointment. Robert married his high school sweetheart, but their union was short-lived due to emotional neglect, and they had no children. His early optimism about his career waned as he became more disillusioned by the industry's cold reception. In his 20s, Robert began to battle severe anxiety and depression, compounded by the isolation that followed his fall from the limelight. His struggle with mental health led him to attempt suicide twice, once in his late 20s and again in his early 30s. Though he survived, he never fully recovered from the trauma of those dark years. By 2025, Robert is 35 years old, living quietly in an apartment far from Hollywood. Miriam Hassan was born on January 27, 1993, and played Tamika in School of Rock, 2003, at the age of 10. Tamika, the shy but incredibly talented singer, was a character who found her voice and confidence through the band, symbolizing growth and self-expression. However, Miriam's life behind the scenes was anything but a fairy tale. Despite her exceptional performance in School of Rock, Miriam's career stalled soon after, and she struggled to find significant roles that could match her early success. The pressure of her fleeting fame weighed heavily on her, and she found herself battling with self-worth issues. Miriam married at a young age, but the relationship quickly deteriorated as she struggled with the weight of her past fame. The couple had 2 children, a son named Jalen and a daughter named Kayla, but Miriam's marriage ended in a bitter divorce. After the divorce, Miriam's life spiraled further as she became estranged from her children and became involved in a series of short-lived, unhealthy relationships. She also faced financial ruin after a series of poor investments, losing everything she had. Her health deteriorated in her 30s, and she was later diagnosed with chronic depression and anxiety. By 2025, at 32 years old, Miriam lives in seclusion, battling to find peace within herself and reconcile with her past. Who is your favorite character from School of Rock? How do you feel knowing that some of the actors have passed away? Don't hesitate to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this content, please remember to like, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you won't miss future videos. Thank you so much.